Okay guys, no, part 2 tayo for taxation law pre-week lecture, no. So, sabi ko pala doon sa last video natin, uh, after nung VAT, magta-transfer taxes na tayo. Wag muna pala, no, mag-real property tax muna tayo kasi ang dalas ito natatanong sa bar, no. Nung past 3 years, natanong nga ito eh. So, ano siya talaga? Suki, no, natatanong sa bar exams, no. So, ganito po, sa real property tax, ang normally natatanong talaga yung exemption, no? May mga ano diyan, may mga pwedeng itanong sa inyo yung classification ng property, pwede naman, no? Pero focus po tayo sa mas important, no? Mas usually natatanong sa bar. Okay, so tatlo po 'yan, no? By the way, kaya po natin tinatakel din to kasi pwedeng matanong to sa political law, pwede rin sa tax. So, pwede kayong sa AM schedule matanong, pwede kayong sa PM schedule matanong kasi first day sila lahat, di ba? Polycom tax. Kaya dapat talaga itakil natin to kasi pwedeng either, no? Either matanong kayo or both, no? So, ayusin natin, no? Una po, ito local government code, no? Republic of the Philippines or political subdivision, yun yung isang notable na exemption as provided under the local government code. Itong dalawa na to, really, dalawa na ito, religious purposes at saka educational purposes, Article 6, di ba? Tapos ito naman sa non-stock non-profit education institution, sa ano na to? Additional. No? Additional to, no? Kaya ako nilagay ng additional dito. Kasi parang ako rin, no, nung experience ko rin as a law student, as someone na nag-a-answer ng bar, no, as nag-lecture, magulo po pag masyado natin paghahaluin. Anyway, kung masyado natin paghahaluin, maganda siya atakihin dapat separately. Anyway, mamaya natin tackle yan, no? Punta muna tayo sa number 1, no? Real Republic of the Philippines or political subdivision. If the real property is owned by the Republic of the Philippines or political subdivision, exempted. Diba? So may dalawa pong paraan paano tayo matanong dito. Dalawang anggulo paano tayo matatanong dito. First is the diba? Is the person assessed? Is the entity assessed part of the Republic of the Philippines or not? That's the first question. Kasi po yung political subdivision, this means local government units. Malamang pag political subdivision, ibig sabihin no? So pag local government unit ang may-ari niya, at local government unit din yun ang gumagamit, exempt siya from real property tax. Okay, ang problem po sa Republic of the Philippines. Okay? Tandaan nyo, kapag government instrumentality, exempt, kasi kasali po siya sa term na Republic of the Philippines. On the other hand, kapag GOCC, taxable po. Hindi siya kasali sa term na Republic of the Philippines. So, ano titingnan nyo sa bar exam? Sa facts, sa bar exam, ano titingnan nyo para malaman nyo kung ano sasagot nyo? Tingnan nyo kung may nakasulat na chartered. Kasi di ba ang GOCC nga daw, incorporated through a charter or under the corporation code, revised corporation code. Wala na pong GOCC ngayon na na-incorporate, no? Wala nang, hindi mo, meron po before, no? Like yung Philippine Airlines, di ba? Dati ano yan parts ng government no? Ano pa ba? Philippine National Bank, dati, no? Pero ngayon po, talaga ang mga GOCCs natin, charter na ginagawa. GSIS, no? UP, GOCC yan, no? State universities, you get the point. So tandaan nyo, kapag GOCC yan, titingnan nyo, parang malaman nyo pala kung GOCC yan, tingnan nyo sa facts kung may nakasulat na charter. Pag nakasulat yan, that means taxable yan. No? Subject yan to real property tax. However, pag nakalagay dyan, ang normally kung nakikita authority yung dulo, National Food Authority, National Irrigation Authority, no? NAIA, authority dulo niya. LRTA, no? Pag sa sa train, 'di ba sa train? Ano pa ba? Yun Mactan. Mactan na International Airport Authority. Okay, yung mga yan, exempt yun, no? Sabihin natin yung property na pagmamayari ng NAIA, ginagamit din ng NAIA, exempt siya from real property tax. Which leads us to the next angle na pwede kayong matanong. Exempt if the beneficial use of the property, no, is with a taxable person. In such case, it will be subject to real property tax. Okay? So yan, like sabi ko nga, sabihin natin, property ng NAIA, no? Inilis niya sa taxable person sa isang corporation, inilis niya sa isang big airline company sa Philippines, sabihin natin ganun ang nangyari. In that case, magiging na po siyang taxable. Real property tax. Okay? At by the way, sino po ba ina-assess for real property tax? The owner. So, hindi po lessee. Kaya nga real property tax eh. Ba't napupunta sa lessee yan? Di ba? Under the law, ang lessee lessee na ko. Ang lessor, ang owner, ang magbabayad ng amilyar. Okay? So, ganun po ang style. Okay? So, hindi ang lessee. Hindi po nagbabayad ng lessee ng real property tax. Owner. Okay? At by the way, no, ano lang, pag syempre adulting na, ano po, no, pag ano to sa assessor's office. Ay, sorry. Assessor's office to. Yung ano, yung real property tax na yan. Iba po yung ano, iba yung tax deck ng bahay, iba yung tax deck ng lupa. Anyway. So, ayun. Sabihin natin, iba yung may-ari ng bahay, iba yung may-ari ng lupa. Iba sila ng ano. Pero, huwag niyo ng ano to. Sinabi ko na sa inyo, tangent ko lang to. Focus lang tayo dito sa Republic of the Philippines. Okay? So, pag inilis po yung property ng Republic of the Philippines, like halimbawa nga, NAIA, inilis a big airline corporation, that property is taxable already because the beneficial use of the property owned by the government, owned by the Republic of the Philippines, now belongs to a taxable person. In which case, taxable na siya. Next, ito religious purposes. Okay? Anyway, same lang naman halos ang magiging ano ito, no? Ang magiging discussion. Tandaan nyo, hayaan na natin yung ano, parsonages, churches, hayaan nyo na yan, no? Yung convents. Doon na tayo sa last part ng Article 6 provision na yan, no? All lands, buildings, no? All lands, buildings, improvements, actually directly exclusively used for religious purposes shall be exempt from real property tax. Tandaan niyo po, no, unang anggulo na pwede kayong tanongin dito, ano ba ibig sabihin ng land building improvement? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng salitang improvement? Does this include machineries? The answer is no. Does this include equipment? The answer is no. The term improvements must be synonymous to, hindi naman synonymous, must be along the same, must be similar. Must be similar to buildings. Okay, ganon. Yung mga fences, mga ganyan. Okay, hindi po equipment, hindi kotse. Kasi alam naman natin, no, basic to, sa real property tax po, subject to real property tax ang kotse. Subject to real property tax ang machinery. Subject yan. Diba? Pero tatandaan niyo po, exemption provided for religious purposes, ayan, under Article 6, limited to buildings and similar things. Similar items to buildings. Hindi po kasali ang kotse, machinery, equipment. Sana po get nyo. Okay, that's the first angle na pwede kayong matanong dito. Next angle is actually, directly, exclusively. Tatlo pala yung angle dito. No? Tandaan niyo pag sinabing actually, directly, exclusively, dapat talaga may submission lang to. Wala na yung mga incidental. Okay? Incidental for religious purposes. Wala nang ganun. Okay, kaya ang actual direct exclusive, the law is clear. Mali pala the law. The Constitution is clear. Okay, pag sinabing actual directly or exclusively, dapat obvious for religious. Obvious. Wala na dapat, walang duda na para sa religion yung property na ito. Okay? So, halimbawa, sa kaso nung De La Salle University versus CIR, yung pong ano, yung bookstore at saka yung canteen, taxable. Okay, taxable siya because hindi po siya actually, dito yun, hindi siya actually directly exclusively for educational purposes. Subject po siya subject siya sa tax. Hindi na siya incidental, di ba? Ano siya, yun, actually directly exclusively siya for commercial purposes. Yun. Hindi na po siya educational. Okay? Last na angle na pwede kayong matanong dito, no, sa salitang use. Pala, binilugan ko to. So, ito yung una natin pwedeng tanong dito. Pangalawa, ito, pangatlo. Tatandaan nyo to. Huwag kayong malilito. For purposes of this section, no, nasabi ko na to sa consti discussion natin. We do not care who owns the property. We do not care who uses the property. We only care about one thing. How is this property used? Okay? We don't care about who owns. We don't care about who uses. We care about how, di ba, is it used. Okay, tandaan yan. We only care about how is this property used. No? So, ibig sabihin natin, yun nga, church ang gumagamit, pero for commercial purpose ginamit ng church. No? Benta ng benta ng museum. Sabihin natin, museum ng mga relics, mga ganyan, ng museum ng mga paintings and so on. Commercial na yan. Di ba? Hindi na siya pa religious. Kahit a church po ang may-ari nung parang museum na yon. With that being said, taxable. Okay? O, now naman, paano pag, well, malamang, pag magnegosyo, no, sabihin natin na supermarket, pag ginamit for supermarket yan, taxable. Pero sabihin natin, yung supermarket, ayan, supermarket company, pag supermarket, alam naman ganong company, retail company, supermarket company, retail company, ayan, retail company ha. O ngayon, meron silang inilaan, sabihin natin, religious yung may-ari. Meron silang nilaan na 1,000 square meter lot. Para saan? Chapel. Siyempre, ano sila, no? Meron silang freedom to do that. Aba, property nila yun eh. Chapel. Okay? Yun lang ang ginagawa doon. So, sa chapel, ano ginagawa? Yung mga empleyado, pag gustong magdasal, so, ano pa? Pag may misa, kapamisa rin yung may-ari ng retail company. Tanong, is this exempt from real property tax? The answer is yes. Diba? Kahit may-ari po ng property, kumpanya. O palitan natin yung talagang yung talagang meron nangyayari in real life. Sabihin natin hospital. O. Malaki, kaya niyo yung mga malaking hospital sa Pilipinas, Sinodem, no? Hospital. Tapos yung hospital is for profit, sabihin natin, no? For profit talaga siya. Profit. No? Ano siya talaga? Pang negosyo, hindi siya non-stock, non-profit ang parang niya, classification. Stock profit siya. Pero mabuo sila ng chapel. Siyempre, hospital, kailangan ng chapel. Ba? Yung man chapel na yun, kasi nakatayo yung property niyan, taxable. The answer is no. Kasi, malamang chapel yan, ano naman gamitin pa for other things yan, di ba? That chapel is actually directly, exclusively used for religious purposes. Regardless of who owns it, regardless of who uses it. We only care about how is it being used. Okay? Remember that. Next tayo sa educational. So, ganun lang din yung yung angulo dito. Although meron tayo kasing last na itatakil for that. Same din, no? Improvements, ADE, use. Ayan din yun. Same angles ng tanong, no? O last, ito, no? Add. Sabi ko, add non-stock, non-profit educational institutions. Tama ba ako ng Article 14 ba to? I need to confirm ko lang kung tama yung Roman numeral na tinutukoy ko. Yep, okay, tama naman ako. Nagdakot ako sa sarili ko. Article 14, Section 4. Nope, not Section 4. Tama, Section 4. Nagdakot na naman ako. Section 4, Paragraph 3. Okay? Section 4, Paragraph 3, Article 14. May add tayo, no? So, ganito ang style. Sabihin natin, eskwelahan yung itatax ng LGU. Sabihin natin, tandaan nyo, ito lang, ngayon ko lang din na-realize to, no? Kasi I'm putting myself I'm placing myself in your perspective, no? Pagsasagot kayo ng bar. I think yun ang lacking, no? Like, I don't want to only inform you. No? I want to be in your position din. Kasi I was in your position before. So, paano ko kayo matutulungan in such a way na hindi kayo maguguluhan? Okay? Kasi madali naman nasa materials yan, nasa constitution yan, andyan, no? So, pagkasabihin ko lang sa inyo, baka hindi ko maibigay sa inyo yung hinahanap nyo talaga. At ang hinahanap nyo talaga, syempre, no? Based na lang this experience ko as a bar taker before, ang hinahanap nyo talaga, how can I apply this pag nasa exam na? Di ba? How can I make sure that when this question is asked, I can get full points. Ganito guys. Pag inatake niyo yung Article 6 muna. Sabihin natin, educational institution nga, di ba? You tackle it one by one. Okay? So, ganito. Bubuhayin ko itong upper portion. No? Kaya ako hinati sa education. Mag-example tayo. Ang sabi po pala sa Article 14, all revenues and assets, di ba? Of non-stock, non-profit educational institution. Actually, directly exclusively used for educational purposes shall be exempt from tax, di ba? Okay. So with that being said, gawin natin sa step by step. Ano ulit yung tatlong anggulo na pwede itanong sa atin sa ano? Karagdagan pa natin ang anggulo kasi may additional na tayo sa Article 14. So unang tanong, di ba? Sa Article 6 is yung equipment, machinery. Machinery, di ba? Machinery is not equivalent to improvements. So taxable, di ba? Ito po, Article 6. Okay. Constitution. Sabihin natin, ang may-ari sa kanya, non-stock, non-profit, educational institution. Yun naman ang nakalagay sa facts nyo normally. Educational institution. Ayan. Example na natin ng machinery. Sabihin natin yung, anong tawag dito? Kotse. No? Van. Van used for school trips. At saka, ayan, school trip. At saka, ano pa ba isa? Yung sa athlete. No? For student athletes. Di ba? Pag pupunta sa laro. O, di ba? May kaban. Alam naman mag-grab yung mga yan. Di ba? Okay. Yan. If we follow Article 6, this is taxable. Ganito nyo gagawin, basta i-blow by blow nyo para di kayo malito. Okay. However, if we check Article 14, nakasulat po dyan, assets. All revenues and assets of non-stock, non-profit educational institution. Actually, directly, exclusively used for educational purposes shall be exempt from tax. So with that being said, is this ban exempt from tax using Article 14? The answer is yes. Ganon ang style, exempt. So ano sagot nyo? Sa Article 14 tayo. Diba? Kasi may added eh. May added privileges, added exemptions ang educational institutions na non-profit, non-stock, non-profit. Oh, with that being said, di ba mas madali? Kasi non-stock, non-profit to. O ngayon, paano pag ginawa nating stock profit? Oh, maraming examples ng stock profit. Halimbawa, yung nasa PSE, traded companies. Tatlo yan, no? May recollection, tatlo yan. Na stock traded, di ko nasabihin sa inyo kung ano. Basta, kayo na lang mag-check. Basta PSE traded sila. Okay? That means stock profit yan. Paano ka naman magiging publicly traded naman sa PSE kung Philippine Stock Exchange ang ibig sabihin nun sa mga di nakakaalam? Paano ka naman magiging part ng stock exchange kung hindi ka stock profit? Di ba? So stock profit siya. Okay? Stock profit siya. Tanong yung mga van used for school trips and student athletes. It's not taxable. The answer is yes. Kasi dito sila papasok. See? Ganun po ang style. Gawin natin blow by blow. Okay? Sabihin natin stock profit. Babaguhin natin sagot. Article 6, taxable. Sa Article 14, ano naman siya? Not applicable. Not covered. Diba? Not applicable. Ba't siya hindi applicable? Kasi nga, yung Article 14, for non-stock non-profit educational institutions lang. Do it blow by blow. Okay? Next. Kaya ako hiniwalay talaga. Kaya ako hiniwalay na ganyan discussion. Wala ako ng ubus na yung marker natin. Wait lang. Lang. muna pala, abusin na natin muna to. Tapusin muna natin to discussion natin sa tayo magpalit ng marker. Okay. So, ganyan ha. Ayos tayo. Sige. Next angle na pwede tayo matanong. Basta tingnan nyo remove all biases. Remove all, be methodical about it. Talagang i-apply nyo pareho. O sabihin naman natin, bookstore. O yan. Bookstore, may-ari, non-stock, non-profit ulit. Non-stock, non-profit, educational. Okay. Bookstore. O ngayon, using Article 6. Taxable o hindi? Taxable. Kasi, not actually directly exclusively used. Di ba? For educational purposes. This is commercial. Oh, attorney ba? Umiyok. Attorney ba paano pag Article 14? Oh, pasok ba siya dito? Hindi din, di ba? Kasi nakalagay po, the assets must be like lupa, it must be actually directly exclusively used for educational purposes. So, using Article 14, taxable din. Di ba? Ganun lagi. Hindi, taxable ang sagot natin. Ganun. Always apply them hand in hand, no? Huwag kayong, o ngayon, pag sa isang, o ngayon, sabihin natin, sa isa, taxable. O sa isa naman, exempt. O doon ka sa exempt papasok kasi meron pala siyang privilege provided sa ibang provision ng Constitution. Be exempted. Okay? Sige. Ayos tayo? Sige. Same din to, no? Not adequate, not actually directly exclusively used for educational purposes. Okay? Next. Last one, no? Last one. Yung revenues naman tayo. Ito talaga guys, ano na to specific na siya for specific na po ito for for educational institutions, no? Meron sa actually sa section 30 sa churches, sa charitable institutions, pero wag na 'yon, no? Wag na 'yon. Hindi naman masyado natatanong. Ito po talaga yung normally pinaglalabasan ng tanong. Based sa stats po yung section 30. I was expecting marami siyang magiging tanong for the past 10 years. Not so much. No? Titignan ko nga ulit sa stats namin para walang bias. Based sa stats namin, yung section 30, it was only asked twice, no? Twice for the past 10 years, no? 2013 at saka 2018, no? So kung papalo natin yung trend, 2019, 21, 2019, 20, 2, 3. Past 4 years, di siya natanong, no? On the other, dito real property tax exemption na ito, natatanong talaga siya halos every year. The real property tax exemption 8 times. Wala pa yung poly, di ba? Dito po 8 times, sa tanong siya ng 2019, 2022, 2023. Nag-skip lang doon sa taong ko. 2020, 2021 bar. Di ba? Pero, tinan niyo yung tanong ng real property tax exemption na to. 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2022, 2023. So basically, laktaw lang po ng 2 taon. 2014 bar, no? Si ano yata si Justice Peralta, si Chief Justice Peralta. 2020 sa amin. Si Chief Justice Peralta yung bar chair no 2014. 2013 I forgot. 2015 si Justice De Castro. 2016 si Justice Velasco. Chief Justice din pala si 2015. Chief Justice De Castro. 2017 si Chief Justice Bersamin. 2018 si Justice Del Castillo. 2019 si Justice Bernabe. Justice Leonin sa amin, 2022. Justice Kagiwa, 2023. Yeah, si Justice Fernando. Okay, forgot yung 2030. No? I need to check. Justice Breon. Okay, so anyway, kaya po focus tayo dito. Kasi dito lang din umiikot normally yung tanong. Next tayo, revenues. Ito, tandaan nyo yung revenues na ito. Under the Constitution, sa education na lang siya, ha? Yung revenues. Meron niya sa Section 30, ulitin ko, for charitable. Wala sa religious, kaya huwag na natin ipasok. If may memory serves me right, no? Yep, non-stock, non-profit. Charitable. Ito pala, non-stock corporation organized and operated exclusively for religious purposes. No part of its net income or assets shall belong to or near to any minister. Okay. Meron din pala sa religious, no? Anyway, say, dito muna tayo sa educational institutions. Sabihin natin, ito, hindi natin mapapakot ito, wala na to. Wala na yan, wala na to. Kasi nga, real property tax lang yan. Pag sinabi mo revenue, siyempre ano yan? Income tax. O, di ba? Income tax ang topic natin dito. So, in a way po, medyo tumatalo na tayo sa income tax, di ba? Pero, dito po talaga siya, no? For me, ano siya dapat? Dito na natin ipasok sa real property tax kasi kakabit na phrase yung revenues, eh. Okay, revenues end, di ba? So sa revenues po ganito. Sabihin natin non-stock non-profit ulit. Institution. Sabihin natin, kumita yung siyempre, educational institution ka, may bangko. O, may bank account. Oh, di ba, bank account niya malaki, 100 million. Feasible, syempre, no? Maraming estudyante. Sabihin natin, kumita ng interest income. How much? Bakit 1 million kumita ng interest income, 1% income. 1%. Pag yan lang ang tanong sa inyo, yan lang. Yan lang, talaga. Taxable o hindi? Taxable. Kasi wala pa namang next story eh. Sabihin natin yung 1 million pesos, it was actually directly, exclusively used for educational purposes. Sabihin natin, ginamit mo yung 1 million to build, ano ba? Audio-visual room. Audio-visual room, no? For the school. Ayan. Tanong, is this, dapat ba taxable yung 1 million ng interest income na yan? The answer is no na. No. Must be exempt from tax. Okay? Tandaan niya. Okay, nagigilty na ako, ipapasok ko na sa religious. No? Anyway, ganito din ulit. No? Tapos tandaan na naman, ayan ang revenues, income tax, yung taxable person daw, yung taxable entity daw is non-stock non-profit educational institution. No? May bank account, kumita ng 100 million, interest income niya doon, 1 million. Pag yun lang ang facts, taxable. Di ba? Final withholding tax yan. Di ba? However, no? Yung 1 million ginamit niya, actually, directly, exclusively, for educational purposes. Kasi ginamit po yung 1 million, so patutunayan niya ng accountant, patutunayan niya ni attorney na ginamit po namin yung 1 million ng interest income para makabuo ng audiovisual room sa eskwelahan. Educational purposes yun, di ba? Tanong, exempted na ba? Yes. Not taxable. Not taxable. Exempt. Kasi ayan na siya. Non-stock non-profit education institution, revenues, nitong non-stock non-profit, actually directly exclusively used for educational purposes. Okay? Tandaan nyo po, yung ganyang feature nasa non-stock non-profit lang. Hindi pag pinalitan natin, ginawa nating stock profit, hindi taxable. Kahit sa mo pag ginamit yan. Taxable yan. So, ngayon, last. Palitan natin. Sabihin natin, gawin natin, non-stock, non-profit, charitable or religious. Non-stock, non-profit, charitable or religious. Same thing, no? Same thing. Sabihin natin, huwag na palang, sige, charitable. Sabihin natin, ginamit, ayan. Sabihin natin, two scenarios to, di ba? Kasi may charitable, may religious. Sabihin natin, yung unang ginamit for charitable purposes, no? Ano yan? Donated to out of school youth. Sabihin natin, binigay yung 1 million na yun sa mga batang hindi nag-aaral. Pag religious naman, ginamit yun, pambuo ng, sabihin natin, chapel. Chapel construction. Ayan. Chapel. Section 30. Tanong, is the 1 million interest income taxable? The answer is yes. Okay. Bakit po? Punta tayo sa section 30. Ito, hindi ko nalalagay sa pre-week. No? Ano na lang natin to, dagdag ko na. No? Kasi po, nakalagay na section 30, sabi dyan, the following organization shall not be taxed in respect to income received by them. Sino po yung isang organization na to? Non-stock corporation or association organized and operated exclusively for religious charitable. Okay? Religious charitable, pasok, di ba? Charitable, religious. However, ito pinakalagay sa last paragraph ng section 30. Notwithstanding the provisions in the preceding paragraph, income of whatever kind and character, okay, from any of their activities conducted for profit. Activity conducted for profit. Yan. Oh. If the activity is conducted for profit, sabi section 30, that is taxable even though the entity is a non-stock non-profit charitable institution, a non-stock non-profit religious institution. Kaya lang if the conduct is for profit, that is taxable. Such as this one. This is an activity conducted for profit. Nag-deposit ka, that is a loan, di ba? Nag-loan ka sa bangko, pinaloan mo yung bangko, di ba? When you open a deposit account. Di ba? Creditor-debtor relationship yan. O in this case, pag kumita ka ng interest income, that is an activity conducted for profit. So dapat, itong 1 million na to, taxable. Wala tayong pakialam paano siyang ginamit. We don't care about this one. Because this is only available under Article 14. Constitution. Doon lang po siya available, no? Kakaiba siya, 'di ba, unique? Sa Article 14, wala tayong okay lang kahit paano mo kinita yung pera. Sa negosyo, sa tuition fee, sa bank account, time deposit, 'di ba? Dividend income, we don't care. We do not care. As long as that income is used for education, tax exempt, income tax. Okay? Di ba nag-income tax na tayo? Wala pa ba? Okay. Pero pag ulitin ko pag charitable, educational, charitable, religious, no? Kapag conducted for profit or activity, taxable. We do not care how it was used. Pag income yan. Kaya ayaw ko sana itakal kasi naluguluhan na kayo. Anyway, para di mawala po yung essence ng diniscuss natin, real property tayo. Sa real property, no, actually directly exclusively used for religious, charitable, educational, exempt from real property tax. Okay? Meron lang pong added feature pag non-stock non-profit, no, mas matindi yung rights, yung privileges nito, exemption nito. 'Di ba? Kasi it also covers all assets. Yun lang ang point ko. Yung dun sa Article 6, pag educational, religious, charitable, di ba? land building improvements. Hindi kasali ang assets. Okay, so pag machinery, kotse, hindi po kasali sa Article 6, pero sa Article 14, kasali siya. No? Yun. Okay. Kung saan kayong maguluhan. Kasi nag-income tax na tayo. Kung gusto nyo, balikan yung una ko sinabi dito. No? And just focus on that. Kasi malamang doon tayo matatanong. Okay? Tinakal ko na lang to kasi nabanggit ko na yung revenues. No? Nag-guilty naman ako na hindi ko pa ipasok to. Yun. Sige. Alam nyo guys, okay naman sana no, kung magdi-discuss ako ng tax. Ng full review. Kaya lang, I think, mas maganda talaga ako CPA. No? Kasi yung ano lang, it's the title itself. Diba? Parang maganda talaga ako CPA lawyer yung magdi-discuss nito. Although I think I can discuss naman in simpler terms. Yung mga ganitong topics kasi wala naman siyang math. It's all about analysis. Diba? Hindi naman tayo, well, ng bar ko kasi pinag-compute kami eh. Ng donor stocks, if I recall. Eh, di, pinag-compute kami ng VAT. Pero regardless, no, kung ganito mga general principles like this, no, mga provisions talaga, taxable or not, kaya natin gawa ng paraan para, kasi analysis din siya. We're just analyzing at the end of the day. Just that ngayon, tax. No? So, medyo mayroong stigma kasi may takot kasi parang numbers. Anyway, kaya naman pag ganito. Ganito po yung normally tinatanong sa bar. Kaya ginawa ko sa pre-week pero sa review hindi. Hindi ako nag-discuss for review pero sa pre-week ako. Kasi kaya kong ano yun eh. Kaya kong i-manage yung mga topics kasi based lang naman to sa bar stat at saka sa ano eh, chairs cases. Ito yung mga tinatanong. So, we analyze it properly like this one. Tandaan nyo ulitin ko, kung naguluhan kayo dito sa income tax, sa non-stock non-profit, i-delete nyo na lahat sa isip nyo. Doon lang kayo sa real property mag-focus. Sige, move tayo to the next topic. Next topic natin, capital gains tax versus regular income tax. So, income tax pa rin pala talaga tayo. Ang expectation natin dito, anywhere from 3 to 6 questions. Ang tax. Okay? Anywhere from 3 to 6 questions. So, maganda naman siya, no? I will not, hindi ko naman siya ipupucho na discussion dahil mas konting itatanong. Pero ang expectation natin dapat sa bar nyo, huwag kayong masyadong ma-pressure sa political, sa taxation law. No? Huwag kayong masyadong ma-pressure. Kasi kung 6 questions lang yan, hindi po masyadong deep yung magiging tanong. Kasi nga 6 questions lang. Kapag 20 questions na taxation, unavoidable, talagang magtatanong ng technical yan. Kasi kailangan naka 20K. Di ba? So, at some point, magtatanong talaga yung bar examiners ng technical questions, no? Pero pagtandaan niyo, pag 6 questions lang, hindi rin naman bibigyan ng chance na deep. Kasi syempre, kailangan i-spread out yan, no? Ma-cover yung income tax, VAT, transfer taxes, di ba? Ma-cover yung remedies. And this one, real property tax, di ba? Kailangan ma-cover sila. And if you want to cover everything, di ba? Common sense lang. Hindi natin ma-deep down yung iba. Hindi tayo makakapag-niche down dun sa iba. Unlike sabihin natin, pag remedial, sabihin natin civil law, nag-iisa lang yun. Solo. Di ba? Wala siyang kakombine. Malamang tatanungan kayo ng malalalim. Di ba? Hindi lang yung basic na persons and family relations na what are the essential requisites at saka formal requisites, mas malalalim. Pwede kayong tanungan ng Article 147, 148. Di ba? Mas humuhukay na talaga ng topics. Okay? So, ganun po, no? Same thing sa labor. Pwede kayong tanungan ng malalim kasi solo lang siya. Same thing sa poly. Same thing sa crim. Pero yung tax po, saka ito, babanggitin ko ni ethics. Especially sa ethics, mayroon pang leg forms. Diba? May practical exercises pa. Hindi, kung matatanong man tayo dyan, you need to cover a lot. Like yun, sa ethics, malamang magtatanong ng new lawyers oath, bago eh. Of course, doon ko gagawin prediction ko sa ethics. Pero sinasabi ko lang ngayon, di ba? Magtatanong nun. O siyempre, diba 5 questions? Hindi naman pwedeng napakadaming questions sa ethics kasi pinakamatinding topic sa buong law school, remedial law. kasabay REM ethics, di ba? So, dapat kung magkakaroon ng priority dyan, baka dapat REM talaga. No? So, karamihan ng magiging tanong talaga dyan, puro REM. May taon nga, if I remember correctly, ilan lang talaga tanong sa ethics eh. 2. Tama ba ako dun? Tinan ko. Noong 2022 bar, 2 questions. Ethics. The rest is REM. Diba? So, keep that in mind lang. Noong taong ko naman, noong 2020, 2021 bar, 6 ata yung tanong. So, ganun din ang ratio natin, no? Ratio tuloy. Ganun din ang prediction natin. Anywhere from 2 to 6 questions. Sa tax, 2 to 6 questions sa ethics. Okay? Like yun. Anyway, sa ethics, syempre, magtatanong ng no lawyer's oath. Tapos, magtatanong ng isang SIPRA, isang new Code of Judicial Conduct for the Philippine Judiciary. Tapos, 2 leg forms. Sa leg forms, malamang isa, contract, yung isa, mahirap yung leg forms dito kasi, no? Mahirap. Petition. O isang petition, saka isang deed. Ano yung mga deed dito, like yung extrajudicial settlement, ganun ang magiging tanong sa inyo. O kung medyo papadalian kayo, isang mahirap, isang madali, isang motion. Like yung motion for execution, isang ganun, saka isang mahirap. Ganun ang magiging style dyan sa leg form. Nabihil ko lang, no? Kasi nung time namin, medyo mas simple siya kasi 6 questions nga eh. Yung 2 leg forms na tinanong sa amin, isang jurat, saka isang certification against forum shopping. Ang expectation sa inyo mas mahirap kasi yung practical exercises next level eh. 'Di ba? May SPA, mga ganyan, 'di ba? Yung mga tanong sa inyo, petition for correction of entry. JUDAF. Ay, isa kong duda, baka JUDAF eh. Kasi JUDAF may ano eh, may maraming ano yan eh, maraming details. Pwede ganun, isang jurat saka isang motion for execution. Pero expect nyo yun. Expect nyo na 2, 2 yung leg forms nyo. Doon lang naman. So kung mali ako doon, okay lang. Basta let's not neglect, di ba? But let's not neglect, but at the same time, huwag kayong kabahan. Yun ang point ko. Do not neglect it, no? Parang law school lang, kahit minor subject, huwag nyo neglect. Pero at the same time, huwag kayong kabahan na sobrang lalim ng mga iniisip nyo magiging tanong sa inyo. Not the case. That will not be the case. Prediction ko lang yun. Siyempre, baka malalim tanong sa inyo. That can happen, di ba? That can happen, no? Kasi everything is possible, anything is possible naman. Pero ang prediction ko, not so much. Hindi po masyadong malalim. Kasi, konti lang yung questions. And the questions have to be, broad, di ba? Ma-cover yung maraming topics. So, you get the point. Move tayo to capital assets at saka ordinary assets. So, capital gains tax. So ngayon, unang tanong, no? Bago, hindi ko na pala kailangan isulat yun. Explain the difference between ordinary asset at saka capital asset. Yung pong definition ng capital asset dyan sa tax code mahaba. No? At parang, kung anuhin nyo, kung siyempre, kung halimaw kayo, read accordingly. Okay, saan section yun? Section 32 ba yun? Tama ba ako ng sinabi? Mali. Section? Ito. Nawala. Asa ba section yun? Ayan, section 39. Sabi ko 32, I'm sorry. Mahaba, di ba? The term capital asset means property held by the taxpayer, blah, 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 but does not include stock in trade, mga ganyan. Mahaba siya. No? Kung kaya nyo sabihin yan, good for you guys. Good job, no? Pero ito na lang, no? How do we differentiate capital asset and ordinary asset, no? Bar question siya, by the way, before, no? I forgot ko anong bar to, pero natanong ko sa bar, no? The following are the distinctions between an ordinary asset and a capital asset. So first, the gains from the sale of ordinary asset is subject to regular income tax, while the gains from the sale of capital asset is subject to capital gains tax. Okay, next, as a rule, an ordinary asset is used in the regular course of trade or business, while a capital asset is that which is not used in the regular course of trade or business. So yun po ang gusto ko lang i-impart sa inyo, by the way, no? Yung letter D na yan. Ordinary asset, regularly used in the conduct of trade or business of the taxpayer. So, paano po ba siya magiging used in the regular course of trade or business? Ayan. Ang isa po example niyan is if inventory siya. If that is the product being sold by the taxpayer, like halimbawa, real estate company, yung real estate na hawak niyan, hindi siya capital asset. Ordinary asset siya because this is inventory. Okay? For sale of the company. Iba. As opposed sa halimbawa sa hospital. Ay, hindi. Mali. As opposed sa bahay ng tao, no? Residential property mo. It's not for trade or business, no? So kaya punta tayo sa section 39. Sige nga, paragraph A, no? Palagay dito, it does not include stock in trade. O, ayan, kasi nga stock, pang real estate company of the taxpayer or other property of a kind which would properly be included in the inventory. No? Ang haba pa nung sinabi. Cut natin isang chunk yun. If on hand at the close of the taxable year. Isang chunk yun, guys, ha? Yung include stock in trade. O yan, hanggang dun sa at the close of the taxable year. One chunk. Ibig sabihin ng pag inventory yan, ordinary asset. Next, property held by the taxpayer primarily for sale. Diba? Inventory primarily for sale. Kaya nga nasa inventory kasi primarily for sale. Okay, basic accountancy, no? Nag-accountancy basics kasi ako nung college. Kapag inventory yan, yun yung produkto mo. Kapag hindi mo inventory yan, saan pupunta yung real estate? Sa property, plant, and equipment. No? Kasi sa mga hindi business course, no? Baka di tayo familiar about it. Basta ganun, no? Basta tandaan nyo, inventory, another word for that is primarily for sale yung property. Okay? Another word yun. Pag sinabi mo inventory, bebenta mo yan. Kaya nga napunta sa inventory mo kasi di mo nabenta. Kasi pag nabenta mo yan, sa iba nga pupunta yan. Di ba? Pwedeng cash. Kasi naibenta mo na. Sabihin natin, ibebenta ka ng, yun nga, real estate company ka o may inventory ka, 10 condo units, na ibenta mo yung 10 na yun. Wala na inventory mo, zero. Mapupunta yan lahat sa cash. Diba? Unless dinispose mo rin yung cash. Unless yung cash ginamit mo for other things. Pero sabihin natin, hindi mo ginamit, no? Tinago mo lang. Binangko mo lang. Cash yun. Okay? Anyway, sige, move tayo. Next. Or property used in the trade or business. Of a character which is subject to the allowance for depreciation. No? Or real property used in trade or business of the taxpayer. Okay. Sige. Para pasimple, no? I-cover na rin nga natin to. Ayoko lang nung gano'n na as a general rule, used in trade or business. Ayoko, no? Ayoko nung ganung. Pwede naman ganun yung distinction natin sa pag ganun ng tanong sa inyo na distinguish ordinary at saka capital. Tapos, 2 points lang yung question. Okay yung ganung isang distinction. Kasi, hindi naman sa atin hinihingi pag 2-pointer yung buong, di ba, buong paragraph. Okay lang yun. At saka yun namang, pag sinagot mo naman yung distinguish ordinary saka capital asset, may iba pang mga distinctions. Like yung tax. Yung isa is regular tax. Yung isa naman is capital gains tax. O pangalawa nga yun, not used in the course of trade or business. Yung isa naman, used in the course of trade or business. And lastly, pagkakaiba nila is, ayan, kapag sale of capital asset, final withholding tax. Yun namang ordinary asset, pag binenta mo, creditable withholding tax. That's the last distinction between the two. Okay, so tatlo, di ba? Balik muna tayo sa distinction. Regular corporate income tax, used in the course of trade or business, and lastly, creditable withholding tax. Ito po yung sa ordinary assets. So, i-flip na lang. Opposite niyan, capital asset. Capital gains. Okay? Tax yung nakalagay dun sa other side. O ngayon, dun tayo sa mas specific. No? Tandaan natin, isusunod ko na yung chunk-chunk. No? First chunk is inventory. Next chunk is inventory primarily for sale. Again, no? Mas malulupit yung mga accountant, CPA lawyer sa akin in determining what is primarily for sale, what is inventory. Pero ako lang, for the purposes of simplification talaga ako. I would like to simplify everything for you. So, hindi siya nakaklag ng isip. Talagang pag minemorize mo ng isang paragraph, talagang dead tayo lahat dito. Dami niyan eh. Diba? At isang topic lang naman yan, ang dami pang hindi. Ang dami pang ibang topics na important din. Like yung, ano ba? Filing of income tax return. No? Mga ganyan. No? Pero di ko na i-cover to dito sa pre-week natin kasi mas natatakil yung period to assess, period to collect, pan, yung mga yan. Tinanong ako ng bar ko niyang pan na yan. Okay? Last question sa tax yun. Okay, so yan ha. This is the first chunk. Inventory, capital, inventory primarily for sale. Ordinary asset. No? Next. Two chunks lang pala. Next is used in trade or business. So yan pala, no? Pag pala distinguish natin, kung gusto natin na mas halimaw yung sagot natin, pag distinguish natin yung ordinary asset at saka capital asset, ang una mo nga is yung tax. Ano yung tax? Isa is regular, yung regular. Yung isa unleaded. Regular at saka premium. Okay, regular at saka capital. CGT. Okay? O next, number 2, yung nature ng property, di ba? Ilagay nyo yung dalawang chunk. Yan. Whether inventory, no? Yung ano, ordinary asset to, or used versus not inventory, used. And lastly, yung withholding. Yung isa is CWT versus FWT. Okay? Okay, yung una nating ano, topic dyan sa capital gains. Next. Okay, next po, no, sa capital gains, tax na lang. Sa capital gains tax, di ko na pala sulat. Sa capital gains tax, tandaan nyo po, it only covers lands and buildings. Okay, hindi po covered ng equipment. Sabihin natin, nagbenta ng kotse, no? Ako, nagbenta ako ng kotse, hindi naman ako car salesman, hindi naman ako car brand, di ba? Bumili ako ng kotse. Next time, binenta ko yung kotse na yun. Subject ba to capital gains tax? The answer is no. Kasi the capital gains tax only covers lands and buildings. Okay? Doesn't cover equipment. Okay, next tayo. Last topic for capital gains is yung exemption. Sabihin natin, nagbenta ako ng bahay. Ayan, bahay at lupa, nagbenta ako. May akong bang paraan para maging exempted ako sa capital gains tax? Yan yung next natin topic. Ito po, akala ko dito tinatanong. Okay? Pero kaya nga walang bias, di ba? Nagkasagot tayo ng bar exams for the past 10 years, no? Ang dalas na tinatanong yung ano na yan, yung full utilization within 18 months, blah, 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 no? Kailangan natin ng requisites for this one. Okay, so we will do that ngayon. Bubukayin ko lang itong board. Okay, tuloy po tayo, no? Ang tip ko po pala, no, pag ganitong hahaba yung provisions, like itong paragraphs, ang ginagawa ko siyang parang requisites. Now, I can absorb it properly. Kasi ngayon, instead of memorizing one whole, na parang tuloy-tuloy na words na walang katapusan, no, na ilang lines sa tax code. Pag ginawa ko siyang requisites, now, I can absorb it properly. Kasi now, basically, tinitry ko yung mind ko, blow by blow. Sige, una, sale of principal residence. Okay? Tapos next po, by natural persons. Okay. Nakadalawa na ako, di ba? Tapos, ito po, ginagawa ko to, no? Like, dinadagdagan ko siya. Like, halimbawa, ito nakalagay po kasi dito sa paragraph, no? Sa capital gains tax. However, capital gains presumed to have been realized from the sale or disposition of their principal residence by natural persons, the proceeds of which is fully utilized in acquiring. Masyadong mahaba. Hindi ko pa dinadagdagan. No? I make it simpler. Like yung the capital gains presumed to have been realized, hindi ko na nilagay yan. Start na tayo sa sale. Sa ginagawa ko po yung isang paragraph, ginagawa ko talaga siya, how can I make this as how can I make this na parang requisites, no? So that hindi ako masyadong na-overwhelm. Okay. Anyway, no? Tuloy na tayo dito, no? At this point naman, hindi na natin kailangan ng masyadong studying techniques. Ang kailangan na natin yung information kasi nga malapit yung bar exams. Okay. Sale of principal residence. Tandaan nyo ha, principal. Ganyan, malalaman nyo lang. Kaya pag ginagawa nyo kasing requisites na ganito, dyan nyo lang malalaman din kung saan kayo possibly tatanungin. Kasi nakikita nyo, okay, ito yung unang requisite na nailagay ko. Saan ako pwedeng matanong sa first requisite? Sa salitang principal. Malamang hindi sa sale. The facts will say na nagkaroon ng bentahan. Kaya pwede tayong tanongin kasi of the adjective na naman. Mahilig ako sa adjective, di ba? Principal. Paano kung hindi principal residence? And what if vacation house? Pwede yan, di ba? Oh. Ang main house nasa Maynila, ang vacation house nasa Tagaytay. Binenta yung Tagaytay. Pasok pa dito sa exemption na to, the answer is no. That will be subject to capital gains tax. That's the first question. By natural persons, paano pag nagbenta, domestic corporation? Pwede bang ma-exempt? The answer is no kasi natural person daw ang nag-sell. And also, hindi naman principal na residence ang tawag kapag domestic corporation. Ang tawag dyan is principal place of business. Diba? Or principal office. Diba? So yan pa, next question sa inyo, diba? So ano yung next na tanong sa inyo rito? What if domestic corporation sold? Principal office. Covered ba nito? The answer is no, kasi natural persons. See, kasi nga, blow by blow natin, nakikita natin yung mga possible tanong. So ngayon, ready ka na pag tinanong ka sa bar. Ay, ito nga yung naisip ko. Ganun. Okay, next is the process of the sale. It was utilized to acquire new principal residence. No, acquire or construct. So, either way, okay? New principal residence, no? So, iyan. Ganun. Ayan, process ng sale na yun. O, last requisite is the utilization must be done within 18 months from the sale. Okay. Sabihin natin, no? Yun, gagawa ka ng example. No? Kasi may mga 18 months. Eh. Pag mga may 18 months, kailangan na gumawa ng example with dates. O sabihin natin, binili. June 1, 2021. Ayan. Sale of principal residence. Binenta ni Mr. A. O ayan, yung kanyang principal residence. Pasok tayo sa first at saka second requisite. Pasok po. Okay. Ngayon, how much? Sabihin natin, for 10 million. Ngayon, yung 10 million, it will be used to buy, acquire, di ba? Buy new house, di ba? O sabihin natin, umuunlad si Mr. A. Kaya niya binenta 10 million niya kasi mag-uuwi na siya sa mas malaking property. 50 million yung property na bibili niya. So, ginamit niya 10 million para 40 million na libabayaran niya. Ito lang yung basically no money, di ba? No, di ba? Di pala no money. Tawag dito. Ito na lang yung extra. So, no money ka dyan. Extra babayaran. Extra payment, di ba? O ngayon, sabihin natin, this was executed, the deed of sale, deed of absolute sale, the DOAS, no, was executed on July 1, 2022. Is this 10 million sale exempted from capital gains tax? The answer is yes. Kasi pag sa number 3, yung 10 million ginamit pambili ng 50 million na bahay. Tapos na-utilize din po siya within 18 months. In this case po, 13 months, di ba? Pasok. Okay? May isa pa akong dinailagay dito ang requisite, no? Which is, ayan, the said tax exemption can only be availed. Yun nga yun. 5 last pala is, can only be availed once every 10 years. Okay. In this case, wala naman ako sinabing twice na nangyari, di ba? Sabi ko, di ba? If the facts did not state na dalawa ang naging, dalawa yung naging palit, alam mo yan, nag-move in. Hindi ganito. Kapag 10, tapos nag-move siya sa 50 million ng bahay, tapos biglang 100 million na siya later on, no? Alabang na siya. Ayan. Pag ganyan yung dialogue sa bar exam, baka dito tayo magiging absent. Kasi twice siyang inavail. So sabihin natin, dagdagan natin yung facts, no? Yung 10 million, 50. 10 million, 50 million, nangyari. Exempted po sa income tax yung 10 million. O sabihin natin yung 50 million na bahay later on, binenta para makabili ng 100 million na bahay. Kasi basically, pumuputok talaga yung pera ni ano, nag-explode yung pera ni Mr. A, no? Talagang nag-move up talaga siya ng mabilis sa lipunan. Okay? So ito, exempted to, di ba? Exempted. O attorney, ito bang 50 million na to? Exempted o taxable na? Taxable na to. If sabihin natin, within the 10-year period nangyari yung move-in, sabihin natin ito, 2021, di ba? Binenta niya. O ito, 2022. O sabihin natin, yung taon na ito, 2024, so 100 million, 100 million na siya. O yan, ang nangyari. Yung una, ulitin ko exempted. Kasi yung pa lang yung facts di ba? One sale lang yung nangyari. One sale, one acquisition. Okay? One sale, one acquisition. No problem, pasok tayo sa lahat, di ba? Tapos within, wag pala, what with 2024 yun? 2023, sabihin natin. Para kunwari, pasok sa ulit sa 18 months. Kunwari, pasok sa ulit sa 18 months, di ba? O. Kaya lang, yung 50 million niya to 100 million, di ba? This will be the second time availing this exemption as provided under the tax code. Second time. Second time. Okay? So with that being said, taxable na po siya kasi dito po tayo nag-minti sa number 5. This exemption can only be availed once every 10 years. He will avail this twice na. Di ba? Two sales, first sale, second sale, tapos two acquisition na. First acquisition, second acquisition. Hindi na siya covered ng second sale and second acquisition. Okay? Bawal daw masyadong bawal daw masyadong yumayaman agad. Joke lang. No? Okay, anyway, you get the point, ha? O yan, pag mahaba talaga yung paragraphs, like yung binasa natin na ito, pag ginawa nyo ganyan, mas madali, di ba? Kung ngayon, attorney pa paano pag hindi fully utilized, edi yung proportionate na ni-utilize para mabili yung bago. Ganun lang. 5 million na ginamit, edi 5 million na tax exempt. Yung other 5 million, sabihin natin, other 5 million, pinambili niya ng Patrol, Nissan Patrol. Pinambili niya yun. O di yung 5 million na yun, subject to capital gains. Diba? O yung other 5 million, yun yung exempt. Ganun lang. Ano, nakalagay din kasi dyan, no? Kapag, may isa pa pala, no? Hindi ko na nilagay kasi baka wala naman ang nasa fax. Hindi naman siguro itatanong ko sa bar. Yung last na procedure, number 6 is, ako nalagay ito. 6, ito. Notification. Notify the BIR, no? Within 30 days from date of sale. From sale. Check na lang ganun. Hindi naman siguro itatanong masyado ng specific pag mayroon pa yung CIR, no? Basically, sa June 1 daw, no? 30 days from June 1, ano yan? July 1. Dapat on or before July 1, 2021, nasabihan mo na. Notify BIR, no? Of your intention to avail this exemption. Pag hindi mo na-notify, wala ka ring wala ka ring capital gains tax exemption. So 6 po pala yung requisites. Kung ulitin ko kapag partial lang, di 5 million yung exempt, 5 million yung taxable. Pag ginamit lahat yung 10 million na yun, exempted yung buong 10 million. Okay? So magkano yan? 5 million times 6%. Ano ba yun? 300,000. Ayun, magiging niya. 300,000 yung taxable. Tama ba ako? Yeah, tama. 6%. Okay. Sorry. Move tayo to the next topic. Donor's tax at saka dito hindi natin kailangan ng hindi natin kailangan ng masyadong whiteboard. Kaya buburahin ko na rin. Okay. Donor's tax, estate tax. Okay, donors tax na tayo saka ano no, estate tax. So dito din natin kailangan isulat pa no. Sa tandaan niyo sa tax code, sa donors tax, ano ba yung mga usual, yung mga exempted? Ano ba yung usual gifts that are exempted from donors tax? Kasi gift is another word. Oh. Gift tax, donors tax, okay. Ang isa pong usual example is if the gift does not exceed 250,000 during the calendar year, di ba? So that's the first thing, no? Next is ito. Tandaan nyo, no, napansin ko, nagulat din ako. Akala ko ang usual na tinatanong sa bar yung ano, yung pag nag-donate ka sa NGO, mga ganyan. Hindi, no? Ang dami po mga tanong dito about uh, donations made sa government. Okay, so ano po, let's be specific about it, no? Gifts made to or for the use of the national government or any entity created by any of its agencies which is not conducted for profit or to any political subdivision of the said government. So political subdivision nga, another word for political subdivision is LGU or tawag dyan yung public corporation. Ayan, nag-civil code na tayo. Di ba? Yan po yan. Public corporation, political subdivision, LGU, same thing. Pag nag-donate ang isang mayaman, ayan, sa LGU niya, okay. No? Exempted dyan sa donor's tax. Ngayon, dito po sa bar, no, may tanong din sa water district. Ano rin, nag-donate sila sa water district, exempted din from donor's tax, no? Tapos, well, national government, nag-donate sa elementary, you get the point, no? Tapos, may isa pa, wait, I need to check that. Nag-donate sa dahil nawala. Ayan. Oh, nag-donate sa Municipality of Cuyapo, Nueva Ecija. Oh, ayan. Okay. Okay, we're good, no? Tapos, move tayo to ano, yung isa pa, no? Yung gifts in favor of an educational or tandaan nyo po, no? Yung next paragraph na yan, non-stock, non-profit dapat. Okay? Non-stock, non-profit dapat yung dodonata na donee, basically, no? Non-stock, non-profit, educational, charitable, religious, you get the point. Okay? Kasi nakalagay po dyan, no, for the purpose of this exemption, a non-profit educational blah 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 is a school, college, university, charitable corporation, accredited NGO. Wait, hindi na pala ano, wag na pala yung non-stock. No? Non-profit na lang. No? Basta pwedeng stock. Kaya ang weird. Ang weird ng stock tapos non-profit. Ayan pala. So, okay, nagda-doubt lagi ako sa sarili ko, tama naman ako. Or research institution or organization incorporated as a non-stock entity paying no dividends. O, di tama nga. Dapat din ako nagda-doubt sa sarili ko, tama naman ako eh. Non-stock, non-profit, okay? Incorporated as a non-stock entity paying no dividends. Okay? Ayan. Ito pong donation na to, as long as not more than 30% of the gift will be used for administration purposes. Ano ba example ng administration purposes? Kapag ginamit yung donation pang pasweldo. Kasi ang isang non-stock non-profit, sabihin natin charitable organization, wala talaga dapat dividends. Pero paano kapag yung dinodonate, ginagamit pasweldo? Pwede, di ba? O hindi natin gagawin ano, sabihin natin yung CEO, yung president ng foundation, yung ng charitable organization, hindi nga kami nagdideklara ng dividendo. Pero malaki sweldo nung president. Kaya po nilagay yung administration purposes na yan. Sabihin natin, 1 million dinonate. 400,000 ng donation ginamit pampasweldo dun sa president ng charitable organization. Subject po to donor's tax yung donation na yun. Okay? Kasi sabi 30% eh, no? Not more than 30% of the said gifts shall be used by such donee for administration purposes. Pag ginamit, malaki, no? Kalahati ng donation, ginamit pampasweldo, patay tayo dyan. Subject to donor's tax. Okay? Sige. Okay tayo dyan, no? Move tayo to estate tax. So, sa estate tax po, nagulat po ako, no? Yung sa ano, hindi siya masyadong tinatanong, yung pangalan nito, inclusion. Tama ba ako? Yep, itong gross estate, yung decedent's interest, transfer in contemplation of death, revocable transfer, proceeds of life insurance, property passing under general power of appointment, hindi po siya madalas tinatanong sa bar. Nagulat ako. Ang usual po na tinatanong sa bar, deductions. At saka um, yung personality nung namatay. Okay, ano po ba nakalagay sa section 85? The value of the gross estate of the decedent shall be determined by including the value at the time of the death of all property wherever situated. Yan po yung general rule. Lahat ng property nung namatay, included sa gross estate niya. Saan man siya situated? Sa Amerika, sa Peru, no? Puerto Rico, Brazil, US, no? Nasabi ko na pala, Canada, Pilipinas, kahit saan pa man po, no? Wherever situated, covered po siya must be included po siya sa gross estate. However, in case of a non-resident decedent, who at the time of his death was not a citizen of the Philippines, only that part of the entire gross estate which is situated in the Philippines will be included in his taxable estate. So, pasimplihin po natin. Kapag Filipino, so ano ba, apat yan, di ba? Resident Filipino, non-resident Filipino, like OFWs, no? Resident alien, at saka non-resident alien. Apat yan. Yung tatlo po na una kong sinabi, wherever situated. Kasi nakalagay po yung, however, in the case of a non-resident decedent, who at the time of his death was not a citizen of the Philippines. So, yung pang-apat lang po yun. Pag non-resident alien ka, sa US ka nakatira, it makes sense, di ba? Amerikano ka din, ano? Dapat yung gross estate mo lang situated in the Philippines will be part of the taxable estate. Pero pag resident alien, resident Filipino, non-resident Filipino, kahit saan sa Pilipinas, sa US, sa Canada, no, sa Argentina, Germany, UK, kahit saan po, included siya dapat sa taxable estate. O move tayo to the deductions, no. Tandaan sa deductions, baka gulatin pa kayo, may mga medical expenses pang ilagay dyan, no? Kasi napansin ko po yung mga dating bar exams, laging ganyan, medical expenses, funeral expenses. Dati kasi may ganun. Merong, may specific, no? May specific na magkano pag medical, magkano kapag funeral, mga ganyan. Ngayon wala na po, no? Lahat po yung pinalitan na ginawa ng standard deduction. Ano po ang purpose of standard deduction? To cover all of these things. To cover all of these things, yung medical, funeral, last sickness, paggagamot, yung mga yan. Kinover na nito lahat. Okay? Standard deduction ng sagot. So, hindi na pwede mga medical expenses na yan. No? 5 million standard deduction kapag citizen of the Philippines. So, 5 million standard deduction kapag resident citizen, non-resident citizen, at saka resident alien. 5 million. Kapag non-resident alien yan, no, US citizen, residing in US, 500,000 lang po yung standard deduction. Next, family home. Aba, obviously, ang family home covered lang sa tatlo. RC, NRC, saka RA. Malamang yung family home ng NRA, nung non-resident alien, wala sa Pilipinas. Kaya po hindi rin siya nakalagay sa deductions. Kasi in the first place, the family home is not in the Philippines kasi nga residing abroad. Okay? On the other hand, kapag resident citizen, sabihin natin, deduction po yung family home. Extent is 10 million pesos. So sabihin natin, 100 million yung malaki, no, sa Alabang nakatira, no? 100 million yung bahay, no? 10 million dun, deduction sa family home, no? Yung 90 million, subject to estate tax kapag resident citizen. Malamang, pag resident alien ka kasi, at saka resident citizen ka, malamang yung bahay mo, yung family home mo nasa Philippines. And most likely, no, hindi naman all the time, pag non-resident citizen yan, malamang yung family home nyo nasa Philippines din, no? Kasi working abroad. Okay? Anyway, may mga instances din naman na non-resident Filipino kasi immigrant na sa ibang bansa na din nababalik ng Pilipinas. May ganun din naman, pero let's not overcomplicate things, no? Basta pag citizen of the Philippines ka, whether resident or non-resident, and resident alien ka, meron kang deduction na family home.
So maganda na rin palang topic to, no? Pag sinabi mo kasing resident alien saka resident citizen, malamang yung family home niya nasa Philippines. Because he is residing in the Philippines. Kapag non-resident citizen, sabihin natin, tapos immigrant, so yung family home niya abroad, will we include that family home in the gross estate? The answer is yes. Kasi wherever situated nga eh. Pero sabihin natin, 10 million ng value ng bahay niya sa US, yun ang family home niya. I-include mo yung value nun. Huwag palang 10 million, 100 million. Mayaman siya doon sa US, na immigrant. 100 million, i-include mo yung kasi wherever situated nga, di ba? Dahil non-resident citizen siya eh. Pero babawasan mo ng 10 million. Kahit na nasa US yung family home niya kasi wala naman sinabi dito sa tax code. No? Sabi lang naman dyan, an amount equivalent to the current fair market value of the decedent's family home, provided that if the said current fair market value exceeds 10 million pesos, the excess shall be subject to estate tax. So that means it doesn't matter then asan yung family home. It can be in UK, it can be in US, can be in Canada, no? Like immigrants nga. Basta, babawasan natin ng 10 million. And kung may excess man doon, di ba? Tawag dito, subject siya to estate tax. Di ba? Kasi nga wherever situated. Pero ulitin ko, pag non-resident alien, malamang walang family home kasi nandun talaga sa ibang bansa lahat yan. Okay? Walang family home sa Philippines ang taong non-resident alien. Di ba? You get the point. Move tayo to the next topic. No? Also, yung losses, no? Yung losses incurred, last na to, no? Losses incurred during the settlement of the estate arising from fires, shipwreck, other casualties, robbery, theft, embezzlement, and so on. Ang context po nito, na wala yung property after the death. Basically, nagsisettle na tayo ng estate. Tandaan nyo yung context po nung provision na yan, the loss occurred after the death of the decedent. Okay? Kasi pag nangyari po yung loss na yan, nanakawan siya ng alahas, nanakawan siya ng kotse, nanakawan siya ng pera, no? Nanakawan siya ng scam. Pag nangyari siya before siya mamatay, ano po magiging solusyon dyan? Di hindi lang i-include yung nawalan property na yun sa estate niya. Sabihin natin, meron siyang 5 million peso na car. O, sabihin natin, patrol. Nawala yun bago siya mamatay. Nanakaw, nakarnap. Hindi mo lang, pag namatay na siya, hindi mo lang i-include yung patrol na yun sa gross estate. Di ba? On the other hand, ang context po nitong deductions na to, sabihin natin, namatay na, o mayroong Nissan Patrol na naiwan, napabayaan yung Nissan Patrol, nanakaw ng kung sino man, i-include mo siya sa gross estate. Kasi talagang gross estate siya, at yun ang property nung namatay siya. Pero i-deduct mo din kasi nawala siya habang sinisettle niya estate. Get? Yun po ang context niyan. Okay? Sige, let's move to the next topic, no? PAN-FAN tayo. RR, Revenue Regulation 18-2013 to, no? Yung Preliminary Assessment Notice, Final Assessment Notice, no? Okay. So, tandaan nyo, no, wala sa RR 18-2013 itong una ko sasabihin na topic, pero very important to. At ito yung letter of authority. Okay? Bago po magkaroon ng PAN-FAN, magkakaroon po ng letter of authority, yung revenue officer, no? At ipadadala po ito ng revenue officer dun sa tawag ito, taxpayer. Kasi this is parang the notice to the taxpayer that he will be assessed, that he will be examined, that he will be he will be audited. Yan. Okay? So ngayon, ano yung mga important principles for letter of authority? Unang-una tandaan nyo, the letter of authority must specify the taxable year that will be covered by the audit. Sabihin natin, income tax niya for 2022 at saka 2021 yung covered ng LOA. Kaya lang, in taxable year 2019, isinali ng revenue officer. Tanong, is the assessment, no? Assessment yan, magkakaroon ng fund later on, di ba? Is the assessment with respect to the 2019 taxable year 2019 valid? The answer is no. It is void. Not because the fund is void, hindi pala. Not because hindi ganun ang sagot niyo. Huwag niya sabihin na not because the fund is defective, hindi yan. No? The sagot kasi is the letter of authority only covered 2022 and 2023. It did not cover taxable year 2019. So, the revenue officer had no authority to assess, to audit the taxable year 2019, making the subsequent proceedings, subsequent actions by the revenue officer void. Yun. Including the PAN and the FAN. Okay? Next po, no, wala nang informal, ano pa ba yung other than that, sa letter of authority. Isa pa is, a letter of authority must be served. Ayan. Or presented to the taxpayer within 30 days from the date of issuance. So, inisyo, sabihin natin inisyo ni commissioner, no? Commissioner ng BIR, inisyo ng June 1, yung letter of authority dapat within 30 days, bigay na siya, ma-serve na siya sa taxpayer. So, hanggang July 1, on or before July 1. Okay? Kasi, yun, di ba, basic naman sa counting ng date, you exclude the first day, include the last day. Okay? Otherwise, it becomes null and void. Sabihin natin, unless revalidated. Pag sinabi mo kasi revalidated, tatatakan ulit yung letter of authority. Na, revalidated ba siya for 30 extra days? Paano pag walang revalidation? Tapos, sinerve yung letter of authority July 2. O, lahat na magiging subsequent proceedings din from there void. No? Pero pag na-revalidate siya for another 30 days, sabihin natin, from July 1 to so on, okay, so pwede pa siyang iserve. You get the point. Next tayo sa PAN at saka sa PAN. No? Tandaan niyo yung PAN, no? Kailangan siya, no? Okay, as a general rule, PAN is required subject to exceptions, no? Yung exceptions, mahaba siya, no? Yung exceptions. Wait lang. Nasa tax code din naman to exceptions, no? But what I'm trying to point out is if nag-fund ka agad directly, sabihin natin from, what do you call this? From letter of authority, nag-fund agad yung revenue officer, void din yung assessment. Kasi PAN is part of the, the due process. Okay? Yung due process accorded, no? To the taxpayer, dapat may PAN. Okay? Kasi baka sa PAN pa lang magkaayos naman ba't pa tayo magpa-FAN? Kasi yung FAN, yun yung matindi na. Diba? Yan yung, yan yung ina-appeal Diba? Okay? So, ayan. No? So, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, kailangan, PAN should be served before the FAN. Otherwise, void yung magiging assessment. No? Ngayon, may mga exceptions po provided under Section 228 of the Tax Code as amended, no? Na hindi na kailangan mag-PAN, automatic PAN na siya agad. So, ilan siya? 5. Please read this, no? So, in this case po, PAN can be issued outright. Direct siya. Like ito, isang example is, when the finding of any deficiency tax is the result of a mathematical error. Mga ganyan. Baka yan ang matanong sa inyo, no? When a discrepancy has been determined between the tax withheld and the tax actually remitted by the withholding agent. Okay? When the taxpayer opted to claim a refund or tax credit, no? Of excess creditable withholding tax, no? However, the same was opted to claim a refund but it was also carried over and automatically applied the same amount. Ibig sabihin kasi, may dalawa kasing choice dyan, di ba? Kapag merong may excess creditable withholding tax ka. You either refund it. Yung pera, ba't nagbigay ako ng mas maraming creditable withholding tax kumpara sa tax due ko, tax liability ko. You can refund it and then you can carry it over to the next succeeding quarters. Kasi pag kinari over mo sa succeeding quarters, edi kung may utang ka na 1 million, meron kang excess na 1 million before, edi quits, wala ka nang babayaran. However, ang nangyari po sa number 3 na to, na exception, nag-refund ka na, kinuha mo 1 million, kinary over mo, pasok nagkaroon po ng unjust enrichment, di ba? 2 million yung kinita mo, 1 million lang naman yung excess, basically. Next is, when the excise tax due on excisable articles has not been paid. Bakit po ganyan? No? Kasi sa excise tax po kasi, no, normally, sabihin natin, yosi, no? Sigarilyo. Bago ilabas yan sa factory, dapat binabayaran ng excise tax, something like that. No? When an article locally purchased or imported by an exempt person, no, has been sold to a non-exempt person. So in such cases, PAN can be issued outright. Okay, so paki-memorize na lang po yun. So in other words, mathematical error, discrepancy, carry over, excise tax, non-exempt, no? Imported by an exempt person, sold to a non-exempt person. O yan. Mathematical error, naalala ko na, mathematical error, discrepancy, carry over, excise tax, non-exempt. Okay? Hindi ako gumagamit ng abbreviation, gusto ko talaga ganun. Instead of abbreviation, gusto ko talaga word ang inaalala ko. Kasi pag nilagay ko, like yung mathematical error, ginawa kong M. What does M mean? I don't know what M means, di ba? Pero pag natanda ko sa ng mathematical error, now I can wing it. Kahit hindi ko man mape-perfect ng sapak na sapak sa provision, no, yung talagang precise provision na isulat ko, mailalagay ko yung, di ba, yung key phrase na hinahanap ng ng bar examiner, mathematical error, o, di ba? And such appears in the tax return. O, di patay, di ba? 5/5 ka na agad. Something like that. Okay, so next tayo, ayun na, tandaan niyo sa PAN, the taxpayer can choose not to respond to it. And it can also choose to respond to it. Okay? Either way, no? Either way, if hindi po makaresolve yung dispute, a fund will be issued. No? Okay, so a fund, an FLD, formal letter of demand will be issued. Ito pong fund, ito pong FLD, ito ang pinaka-important. Ito po ang hinahanap natin to determine, we will tackle this later on, to determine if the power to assess of the BIR has prescribed. Okay, hindi po yung letter of authority issuance, service, hindi yun. Hindi po yung service ng fund. Yung issuance ng fund ang magde-determine if pasok pa tayo sa 3-year period to assess. Okay? The formal letter of demand and final assessment notice shall be issued by the Commissioner of BIR or his duly authorized representative, no? So the FLD fund shall state the facts, the law, the rules, regulations, or jurisprudence on which the assessment is based. Otherwise, the assessment shall be void. O sabihin natin, maayos, no? Maayos yung fund, maayos yung fund, FLD, no? Malinaw, nakalagay lahat ng dahilan bakit ito ang assessed amount dito sa taxpayer. Okay? Ano yung mga possible questions na pwedeng lumabas from there? Ayan, okay. Sabihin natin na walang problema sa PAN, walang problema sa LOA, walang problema sa form ng FAN. Pag may problema, ganun pong gagawin nyo rito sa procedure na ito, ha. Blow by blow. Tingnan nyo muna kung nakalagay, kung fully detailed, nakalagay yung LOA, nakalagay yung PAN. O tingnan nyo muna. May sablay ba sa LOA dito? Pag may sablay, yun ang issue. Void assessment. O, next mo tingnan, pag walang problema kon, tingnan natin yung PAN. May issue ba dyan? Meron bang problema dyan o wala? Kasi po yung PAN dapat, meron ding, ang tawag dito, meron ding facts and law rules, no? Kailangan meron din siyang, basically, meron din siyang basis. Bakit? Yun yung PAN mo. Okay? Pag wala nun, void din yung magiging assessment. Kasi nga, PAN is part of due process. Okay, so hindi ka rin pwede, as a general rule, no? Hindi ka rin pwedeng mag-outright fund from LOA fund ka agad kasi violation din siya ng due process subject to 5 exemptions as I stated before. So ngayon, nasa fund na tayo. Maayos yung fund, may form, no? Ano ang mangyayari dyan? No? Okay, wait. I will clarify this one. I will make this shorter, simpler for everyone kasi maraming maraming mga periods. Okay, so 'di ba na-serve na yung na-receive na yung fund ni taxpayer. Si taxpayer meron siyang 30 days to contest yung sinabi nung commissioner or duly authorized representative. May 30 days siya. Pwede niya i-question. Ang tawag dyan, you protest it. Okay, meron siyang 30 days to protest, no, from date of receipt of the fund. Yung findings ng revenue officer. Another word, no, another term for revenue officer is authorized representative, di ba? Duly authorized representative of the commissioner. Okay? Ayos tayo doon. So ano po ang dalawang forms ng protest? Pwede pong request for reconsideration or request for reinvestigation. Baka tanongin kayo, what's the difference between request for reconsideration and request for reinvestigation? Pag sinabi mo reconsideration, you plea for evaluation based on existing records without need of additional evidence. Okay? Can be question of law, can be question of fact, can be both. Okay? You re-evaluate the existing record without need of adding evidence. Okay? Without need of additional evidence. Pag sinabi mo request for investigation, you will re-evaluate, plea for evaluation on the basis of newly discovered or additional evidence. Okay, so ano po yung additional requirement kapag request for investigation ang gusto mo mangyari? Kapag may additional na dokumento kang ipapakita, kailangan you must, ayan, you must submit this new evidence within 60 days from the date of the filing of the protest. So added, pag kasi request for reconsideration lang, okay na yun, no? Based sa sinabi mo, wala namang bagong ebidensya. Based sa sinabi mo, mag-decide na yung officer. No? Magkakaroon na ng decision do sa protest ng ruling. Pero pag re-investigation yan, ipakita mo sa akin yung dokumento. Pwedeng i-attach mo na, no? I-attach mo na dun sa, ano mo, i-file mo na rin the same day dun sa request for investigation mo. Pwede namang later on, which is 60 days from the date of the filing of the request for investigation. If the taxpayer fails to submit the supporting documents, to submit the new evidence within the 60-day period, the assessment shall become final. No? Final na siya. Bakit? Ano po mangyayari doon? Aba, wala ka naman palang bagong ebidensya. Dismiss ko na yung protest. The assessment is final. Okay? Ayos tayo. Yeah. We're good there. Tama naman ba ako sa? Yeah, final. Okay. Next, no? Sabihin natin, di ba nagprotesta nga si taxpayer? Ano ngayon ang mangyayari? Pwedeng i-grant yung protesta niya, no? Ibig sabihin, kung ano yung gusto niya mangyari, yun na yung susunod, or i-deny yung protesta niya. Either way. Diba? Sabihin natin, dinina yung protesta niya. So basically, nasa ano pa lang tayo, nasa BIR level pa lang tayo. No? Kasi talaga ang next na mangyayari dito, nasa procedure na tayo, pupunta na tayo sa CTA, di ba? So nasa BIR level pa lang tayo. Okay? O sabihin natin, duly authorized representative ng commissioner ng BIR ang nag-deny, no? Syempre siya mag-a-assess, di ba? Siya letter of authority, siya mag-a-assess, siya decide dun sa protesta ni taxpayer. No? Dininay ni duly authorized representative what will be the remedies of the taxpayer. Ito po sabi ng RR 18/2013. If the protest is denied, ayan, by the duly authorized representative of the commissioner, ayan. Ito pala. If the protest is denied in whole or in part by the commissioner or by the commissioner's duly authorized representative, so ito pa yung likely mangyayari, di ba? Kasi hindi naman si commissioner mag-a-assess. Grabe naman, di ba? Hindi naman niya kaya lahat i-assess lahat ng mga taxpayer. So yung revenue officer yan, okay? The taxpayer may either appeal to the Court of Tax Appeals within 30 days from the date of receipt of the decision or elevate his protest to request for consideration to the commissioner within 30 days din from date of receipt of the said decision. Okay? So ayan dalawa ang remedy niya kapag may denial. Okay? So, sulat natin. Sabihin natin, muna ako, wait ako duly authorized representative, no? Sabihin natin, the first scenario, denial. Ibig sabihin, in other words, walang pag-grant, wala nang problema. Tapos na usapan, di ba? Denial. So, ibig sabihin, the duly authorized representative acted. Acted. Okay? Within 180 days. From filing. From filing of request, di ba? From filing of request. Yan. May act, di ba? Acted. May dalawa kang remedy. You can either appeal the CTA within 30 days. from receipt ng decision, malamang. Okay? Or request for reconsideration. Okay. Request, no? Pwedeng mag-request to the commissioner within 30 days din. From receipt ng decision. Ngayon, what if no act? The the duly authorized representative failed to act upon the request, the filing of the request within the 180-day period. So, number 2 is not acted upon. Not acted upon within 180 days from filing. Okay. Ano po ang remedies, no? Merong uling dalawang remedies. Okay? Or, di ba, isa 60-day period, di ba? From the date of the submission of the supporting documents for request for investigation. Masyado nang mahirap. Yan na lang tayo. Within 180 days from filing na lang. Kapag yung investigation, mahirap pa. 180 days from the 60-day period. Di ba? May ganun pa. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so, ayan. May dalawang remedies. You appeal the CTA within 30 days from expiration of the 180-day period. Diba? Or you await. You await the action of the duly authorized representative. Okay? Okay. Ayan, ang gagawin mo. 4 ang remedies. Okay? We have 4 remedies. Kapag duly authorized representative, kapag nagkaroon ng denial, you appeal within 30 days from the receipt of denial. O, kapag ayaw mo pang pumunta sa judiciary, no? ayaw pang pumunta sa justices, then mag-request ka for reconsideration with the Commissioner of BIR within 30 days from receipt of the decision. Okay? Receipt of denial. O, din decision ngayon. O, paano pag hindi po nag-act upon within the 180 days from the filing of the request? May dalawa kang remedies. You appeal, no? CTA within 30 days from the expiration of the 180-day period. Okay? Or you await. So, in other words po, no? Ito yung sinaki na pwede itanong sa inyo. What if? Sabihin natin, June 1, the 180-day period expired. Okay, ibig ko sabihin, nung June 1 po, yun yung 180th day. June 1. So, bibilang na tayo ng 30 days, di ba? O, kailan po ang 30 days from June 1? July 1. July 1 is the 30th day. Na-appeal mo to CTA, di ba? Ito yun. Ito yung sinasabi ko, yan. O ngayon, attorney, what if hindi nakapag-appeal? Failed to appeal. Wala. Question. Na-dismiss ba yung kaso? Naubusan ba ng remedies yung taxpayer? The answer is no. Okay. Because the second remedy will come in. The taxpayer can choose to wait for the action of the department of the duly authorized representative. Okay? Failed to appeal. So, ang naging choice niya is to wait. Okay lang, no problem. No problem. No? So, the assessment, no? did not become final. It did not become final pa. Okay? No problem, no? Yan ang pinili niya number 2. Okay? And choosing one, no? Choosing one bars the other option. Okay? It bars the other option. Pag pinili mo na isa, you cannot choose the other one anymore, no? Mutually exclusive sila. Okay, attorney, paano pag commissioner yung nag-ano mismo, nag-decide? Commissioner mismo. Mas madali. Mas madali. Kasi pag commissioner po nag-decide, mas simple. Okay? Pag commissioner ang nag-decide, sabihin natin, the commissioner, ayan, commissioner acted within 180 days from the filing of the request. Yung denial, itatanggalin nyo lang to. Wala ka ng choice. Mag-appeal ka to the CTA within 30 days from receipt of denial. Tandaan nyo to filing of MR, pag commissioner filing of MR with the commissioner does not toll itong 30-day appeal period. 30-day appeal. It does not. Kaya ang remedy, pag dinenay ka na ng commissioner, your choice is to appeal. Okay, itong isa naman, same pa din. If hindi po nag-actapan yung commissioner within 180 days from filing, pwede ka na mag-appeal to the CTA within 30 days from expiration of the 180-day period. Or you await the action of the commissioner. Apologies for the bad penmanship. Okay? Ganyan lang po, no? Tandaan nyo to filing of the MR does not toll the 30-day period. Okay, so yan. Ibig sabihin natin, to summarize everything, kapag DAR, 4 remedies. Okay? Kapag COM, 3 remedies. And yun, di ba, pag denial, di ba? MR does not toll period to appeal to CTA. Okay? So, 3 sa COM, pag commissioner, 4 kapag DAR. Sige. Move tayo to the next topic. Sa period to assess tayo. Okay, so ito, di na kailangan ng whiteboard, no? Period to assess, alam naman natin na 3 days after the last day prescribed, di ba? For the filing of the return. So sabihin natin, ang filing ng return niya is April 15, 2021. O di hanggang 2024. Pwede mong i-assess yung that taxable year. O yan. Uulitin ko, ano po ibig sabihin ng assessment in this case? The issuance of the final assessment notice. Sabihin natin, di ba, April 15, 2024, edi hanggang April 15, 2021, hanggang April 15, 2024 mag-a-assess, di ba? Attorney, paano pag May maibigay yung fund? The answer is prescribed na. The assessment is void because it is already the right of the CIR, no, the BIR, to assess has already prescribed. Okay? O next tayo, syempre, may adjustment, no? Nakalagay po dito, in the case of false or fraudulent return with intent to evade tax or failure to file a return, the tax may be assessed or a proceeding in court for the collection of such tax may be filed without assessment at any time within 10 years after the discovery of the falsity, fraud, or omission. So, ano po yung mga notes natin dito na pwedeng i-add? Tandaan nyo po, kapag hindi ka nag-file ng return, basically tax evasion yun, hindi ka nag-file ng return or nag-evade ka talaga ng tax. Basically, yan lang po yung tema ng provision na yan, no? I need to be, I need to be precise anong provision to. Section 222, paragraph A. Okay. So ano pa yung mga kailangan nating malaman dito? Tandaan niyo yung una ko sinabi, section ano siya, 202. Section 203, yung 3-year period na sinasabi ko, yun po yung general rule. Kapag walang illegal na ginawa. Okay? O ngayon, paano pag may illegal po na ginawa? Paano yung period, di ba? Sabi ko nga, yung legal na ginawa niya, 3 years siya. No? 3 years, kailangan makapag-issue ka na ng FAM. Otherwise, deads. Okay? Prescribed na siya. Kailangan pala magsulat. Hey. Kailangan kaya siguro nito. Ayan. Sabihin natin, di ba? General rule, 3 years, di ba? To issue fund. From what? From last day of filing. Basically, deadline nung filing ng return. Pag calendar year, April 15, di ba? Pag lumagpas ka na sa 3 years, hindi mo na-issue yung fund, hanggang PAN ka lang, prescribe. Ano po exceptions? 3, di ba? Nakalagay dyan. Tawag dyan. Okay. Fraudulent, false. Nawala ako. 222, ayan. Okay, ito, section 203. False, di ba? Fraudulent. Isa naman is failure to file. 3 F pala to. False return, fraudulent return with intent to evade tax, malamang. Fraudulent nga eh. Saka last is failure to file. Malamang sa bar, baka itanong sa inyo ito. Failure to file. Tax. Hindi talaga nag-file ng tax return. Pag hindi ka talaga nag-file ng tax return, sabihin natin, what will be, unang-una, ano yung period? 10 years. At ano po yung reckoning period? Tandaan nyo rito, last day of filing. May set date ka. Set date. Di ba? Kung April 15 yung calendar year, April 15 yan, hindi nagagalaw yan. It does not move. Ano po ang reckoning period sa 10 years? From discovery. So it moves po, no? Subjective siya. Kailan ba na-discover ng BIR na nag-fraudulent ka, na may ginawa kang fraud, na may false kang ginawa sa return mo, na may failure to file a return ka? Kailan ba nila na-discover yan? It is flexible. So ano po ibig sabihin yan? Pag nadali ka nito exemption na to, wala talagang prescription. Wala talaga. Huwag na natin i-focus yung 10 years. Huwag na yan. Yung discovery lang eh. Malamang pag na-discover na, sabihin natin, na-discover yan 2024. Di nung palang tatakbo yung 10 years. Kahit na 2014 pa yan. Sabihin natin, ayan ha. Sabihin natin. Burahin ko. O sabihin natin, 2013 yung failure. Hindi ka nakapag-file ng ITR mo noong 2013. Nakita lang, 2024. Na-discover. Prescribe ba o hindi? Hindi prescribe. Kasi from discovery, so bibilang pa lang yung 10 years from 2024. So hanggang 2035 pwede mag-file. Sana po nag-get nyo. Di ba? 20 years nang mahigit. Kaya yun ang napaka-important din yung discovery na yan. Okay, that's the first thing na feature niya tututo na yan. Yun yung una. No? Kapag failure to file, false return, yun ang una. No? From discovery, yung reckoning point. Next, the BIR can collect without assessment. Tandaan nyo yan. So, dalawang powers ng BIR na naibigay dyan. Pag may mali tayong ginawa, Pag meron tayong fraudulent na ginawa, no? Meron tayong failure to file a return, unang-una, hindi talaga mape-prescribe kasi discovery. Halimbawa, yung, di ba, beast mode talaga itong discovery kasi subjective nga siya. Pangalawa is, the BIR is now empowered to collect even without assessment. Nakalagay po dyan, no? Or a proceeding in court for the collection of such tax may be filed without assessment. Okay? So, pwedeng mag-assess, pwedeng mag-collect. Okay? Pwedeng both. At pwede rin mag-collect kahit wala ng assessment. So, basically, combine natin lahat, no? Pinakamatindi dito. Flexible na, 10 years from discovery, pag nalaman na, sabihin natin 2013. Tapos, 2024 lang na-discover, di ba? Hanggang kailan? Pwede? 2034. And within this period, pwede nang mag-collect without assessment. So, wala na yung mga pan-fan na yan. Letter of authority. Automatic, file na agad ng kaso. Okay? Paano po, Gip? Halimbawa, ano? Pag malaking pera yan, baka CTA na agad yan. Automatic. Okay? File a proceeding in court for the collection, yep, of such tax. We're good there. Let's move to the next topic, no? Double taxation. No? I think the second time ko na bang matatakal so, natakal ko na rin sa constitution. Patapos na tayo. After this one, derived within, without, tapos exclusion to gross income, and lastly, deduction to gross income. And then we're done after that. So, tama lang to, no? Hindi ganun kahaba yung discussion natin, hindi rin ganun kaikli. Sakto lang. Taking into consideration na nga na hindi naman magte-10 question sa tax.